The camera gonna fall over now. Stabilization. Some stabilization. Huh. All right. I'm getting set up because you never know. You never. You never ever know. Yep. Audio. Yes, indeed. It is a journey. It's a journey. It starts out with a few small steps. Hello, everyone, and welcome all. How many of you? 8 people? No way. No way. Right now, the trick is going to be if I can actually check the live stream. That's going to be the trick. Can I get on the web, and is YouTube going to say, hey, you're live? Because how the hell else am I going to get to? How the hell else am I going to? Let's go to my channel. See if I can get it. Oh, there we go. I just go to the channel. Maybe I'll start doing that. So what I used to do is I would get the stream ready, and then I would text myself the link to the live stream, or I'd have to wait for it to come onto my email. I get an email that's telling me that I'm live. I mean, they could do something a little bit easier, I think. Oh, I think YouTube is so awesome in so many ways. It's so backwards in so many others. What's up, everybody? Damn, 10 people. Wow, that's awesome. What's up, Keith? Pigpen. Yeah, you have no idea. The cases are on the ground back there, but I've only pulled a couple of items out of the cases. Everything else is exploded behind me, which is, I don't know. That's how I roll. Now, am I going to apologize about not giving a shit? I need to get some training from Gary. Gary has the tidiest campsite I have ever seen. It's always stacked nice and neat. His spare tarps are folded properly, hospital corners, everything is just perfect. And it kind of makes me embarrassed that I'm actually camping with the guy, because like, oh man, look at my camp. Look like an RV crashed in the woods somewhere. And then there's Gary over there. Ah, hey, Roland 420. That's an interesting name. What's up? Visiting with my mom. Will tune back in when I head back to shithole Chicago with a camper, probably an hour. Okay, cool, man. Maybe I'll be here. If the sun's down, I won't be here. I think we've probably got about another little over an hour left. What's up, Motorhead? What's in the house, man? So you're coming down here in a few weeks, I think is what I remember you saying. Or Nantahala, I'm not sure, North Carolina. If you haven't taken a tour down through Kentucky and really explored, this is the first time in a long time I've explored. Well, geez, I'm trying to remember the last time I was down here actually explored. Most of the time I'm riding through Kentucky, I'm going somewhere else. And it's like, oh man, Kentucky's nice. I need to come back. And I just never do. I think it's just because my friends don't come up here. I got no friends up here, except I do. I've got one of my viewers is out here camping. He's supposed to be out here camping somewhere tonight. I sent him a pin. I did not want to butt into Bruce's weekend. He had plans with one of his buddies to come out here motorcycle camping, and was like, hey, if we can overlap, or I can just come visit. I didn't want to go, hey, I'm coming to your campsite, because I can put up with anybody for a couple of days, but not everybody can put up with me. So, but I was like, yeah, I got here pretty early. I think he said 6 or 7 they'll be here, and I'm not sure what their goals are other than getting out in the woods and riding their motorcycles. Mine is just getting out in the woods and enjoying nature. And man, it has been fantastic. It was cold last night. I slept in a cemetery last night. I tried to get out here and started taking some turns that I thought were interesting, and wound up. The sun was about like this. I'm like, man, I gotta find someplace quick, because I wind up so many times rolling into a campsite at 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and I just don't like it. I don't like it. I sleep like a baby every single time, even if I'm rolled up on the ground. But I'm just glad to be off the road by that time. But that's what was happening last night. I was like, man, I don't want to roll in after dark. So instead of trying to find my way around the national forest, which I'm not real familiar with, I've been through here a few times, but not enough to tell you where anything was. So last night I rolled into, well, I'm just rolling down a country road looking for opportunities, little side roads, dirt roads. Um, and I saw a cemetery. I was like, oh, this is so cool, except all the trees. They had 2 trees in the middle. It's a very small family cemetery on the top of a hill within view of a house, which is a one strike. And then they had 2 trees in the center of the cemetery, which I don't know. I'd kind of like to stay on the outskirts just in case somebody comes up and goes, why are you sleeping on mama's grave? So I kept rolling. It was perfect, except all the trees on the perimeter were on the edge of this cliff, which I could have done, but I'm not that desperate. I don't want to fall to my death. So anyway, so I kept riding, and then I passed another sign, a big stone sign that said High and Dry Cemetery. And I'm like, oh, no, you didn't. Took a right, went up the hill. Beautiful, beautiful road. Nice paved road all the way up to the top of the hill. Nice golf course like um, cemetery on the top of this hill, surrounded by, put the drone up this morning, and it's surrounded by other, looks like golf courses, just beautifully well kept, well manicured lawns. And I should have gotten a hint, because I should have rolled out this morning, except it was cold, and I was trying to make me some kind of caffeinated drink. I was out of coffee, so I made some strong tea, which was awful. But anyway, before I could get packed up, some dude comes up there with his lawnmower and starts hammering on the lawns. Anyway, it's an interesting night. It's been an interesting week. It's been a great few days in Kentucky so far, and I'd like to stay 2 or 3 more if the weather holds up. I think it's supposed to rain tomorrow. No tarp last night. No tarp tonight. No Haven hammock. I've got the Haven, um, but this takes me about 5 minutes to set up. This is my war bonnet blackbird. I've been hanging in this thing for, let's see, 14 years. I've been hanging in this hammock. It's an ASIM. It's my first hammock. And it is finally getting to the point where I need to replace it because I finally, after 14 years of camping in this weeks at a time, I finally busted a few teeth out of the zipper. Imagine that, a 300-pound man kicking and screaming like a 300-pound baby trying to get out of the womb every night. That's just how I sleep. And I finally kicked some teeth out. So this zipper is kind of, so probably what I wind up doing is sewing this up to about right here so I can have something that's holding my, that's what happens. I get in this thing, roll around, and kick my sleeping bag out, and it hangs on the ground, which is not good. But if I sew this part up here, then I've still got zipper down to about where I'm sitting, so I'll be fine. Makes it a little bit tighter to get into, but as you can see, I did it before, but I busted those. And this is upholstery thread too, I think. Maybe not. Anyway, yeah. So still in Kentucky. I'm in Texarkana till tomorrow. Still going to Chicago. Yeah, eventually. Keith was just in here. We haven't discussed a time frame. We kind of left it open. The idea was I was going to go up to Chicago before the Camping Cook, but the Camping Cook's canceled now, so I could take my time now. And yeah, I'm just taking my time. It's great weather so far. It's cold at night, but man, 69, 70 degrees during the day to ride and do whatever the hell I mean, this doesn't get any better than this. This is spring at its best, and I'm just enjoying the shit out of it. So, hey Don, what's up, Josh? Driving, so I'll be listening. Good, man. Ozark Adventure Riders, North Central Arkansas. What's up, Adventure Rider from Ozark? What's up, Brian or Dina? Which one are you? Kind of hard to tell. Y'all both post on Lone Wolf, so turned 40 May 30th. So that's when you're headed down here. That's cool, man. It's man, I've been getting a lot of negative comments on the Blue Ridge Parkway, and all I've been trying to do. Well, I made the one bitching video about the sheeple. But as you can see, as I'm talking about the sheeple, the guy that just pulled in behind me and split, he was only there for a few minutes. And then he was one of two cars that I just passed. I mean, they were going really slow. And he pulled in behind me. I don't know, maybe 2 miles, 3 miles after I passed. But that was it, man. Those were the only two cars on the whole parkway. So you got a lot of people that were bitching about, oh, parkway sucks, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's the same thing I keep telling people about the Dragon. Go to the Dragon. Just don't go up there on the weekend, especially in the summer. If you want to see the chaos, go up there in the summer on the weekend. You'll see chaos every single day. You'll see people dropping their bikes, crashing into each other. It's complete and total mayhem. But if you want to have a good time and ride beautiful roads, don't go to either of them on the weekends. And especially don't go to the Blue Ridge Parkway when the leaves are turning. They turn a whole lot faster up there at the elevations than they do down below. So they call them leafers, and they drive about 25 miles an hour. So however slow you think people on the Blue Ridge Parkway drive normally, which is about 40, 45. The speed limit is 45, which is okay if there's nobody in front of you doing 35 or 20, which you'll see a lot of that. But yeah, I hope nobody's getting any bad impressions of the Blue Ridge Parkway other than the people that have gone up there on the weekends and went, oh, I'm never coming back here. I think somebody even said that. I'm never coming back to the Blue Ridge Parkway. Like, God, don't say never. It's beautiful. And not just that. Take sections of the parkway. Take the ones away from the cities. The further you can get away from the big cities, I'm just thinking Asheville because I mean, you start riding in towards Asheville, you get 20, 30 miles out, and you start seeing the increase in traffic. It's both ways. And then I crossed over the bridges that go in and out of Asheville. And as I'm crossing in, I'm like, there's people backing up on the parkway to get off the parkway to get into that mess, that soup that is the traffic that's coming in and out of Asheville. I'm like, oh God, please let me get away from Asheville. So it's 20, 30 miles on either side. So 60 miles of just, I'd say Asheville's probably the worst. I don't know. I'd have to think about it to think bad experiences, but usually just stay away from the damn place on the weekends. Take a few days and go off into the mountains during the week, or get up there and sit until Monday morning. Hell, even Monday morning, there's people been up there on Monday, and well, same with the dragon. It's kind of some overlap. Usually, I say you want to ride the dragon, wait till Sunday evening. That's why everybody's going back to the hotel to pack up to go home, and it's vacant, even in the summer. But this past week, it was kind of just the opposite. Anyway, yeah, I hope I'm not painting a bad picture because of one bad experience with one car. North Central, first weekend of June. That's when you're coming down. Cool, man. You're going to Chicago this year, Colorado this year. I hope so. I hope to be getting a new to me bike. I hope to be exchanging this Tiger for a new to me bike, which I don't know. Hope I can scratch up the money here shortly. And if I do, and I still have enough money to travel, I would love to be back in Colorado this summer. Getting ready to get a truck stop shower on the road. Oh, okay, cool. I sure could use a truck stop shower, but as you can see behind me, I don't know if you can see this black bag. That's lake water I just filled up about 45 minutes ago. Hopefully, I'll cook up some lake water, get me a shower tomorrow. And then the other bag behind me is some extra filtering water that if I run out of the drinking water I borrowed from McDonald's, I can filter that. Where's the Haven? The Haven is in one of these boxes back here. The Haven is one of probably the most comfortable sleep I have had in the wilderness. It sets up easy, and it sleeps wonderfully. Even my big fat ass, I can sleep in that thing. I sleep great in this. I always have. But if it's not set up perfectly, like it's set up perfectly now, it's hung perfectly where it's an asymmetrical hammock. So people think about hammocks where it's got this bow. I can't sleep on my back, or not for long, or I got to be drunk. So what I wind up doing is flipping and flopping. With this, you can kind of see it's got these little pockets. When you lay down, it's got these pockets. You can stick your feet out and stick your head out. If you can see, it's got these little pockets. It's kind of hard to tell the way I'm sitting in it. But so this is a blackbird, a war bonnet blackbird. I've had it for 14 years, and I love it. But there's a lot of work that goes into setting these things up perfectly. I've got an underquilt that I have to strap to the hammock to keep the heat loss underneath the hammock. Anything under, I would say anything for me, it's anything under 60 degrees. I could sleep in this thing in a sleeping bag at 60 degrees. Starts getting down 55, 54, I have to do something else. Basically, I have to put a small sleeping bag, strap it to the bottom of this to keep all my heat. It's kind of like sitting on an ice cube. So there's a lot of extra work that goes into this. It takes 5 minutes to set this thing up, but you have to do something. A lot of people put ground pads, like it's 2 layers. So you can slip a ground pad in here to keep your flesh, the meat of your body from touching this thing. And that's basically, you've got to put some kind of insulation here, or it's like sleeping on an ice cube. Um, the Haven has an air mattress that's built in, but the problem I've been having with the Havens, pretty much since I've been sleeping in them, I thought initially I thought it was my fault. I thought the mattresses were going flat because I'm too fat, or I was abusing them somehow. Although I was very careful, but um, I think I'm on my 5th air pad at this point. I lost count. Um, Derek's been shipping me new air pads, but this trip, something new that I only heard of one time: the spreader poles that keep the Haven spread apart. One of the spreader poles went through the pocket. It fired through the pocket of the inside where it's basically a nylon pockets that are sewn into the sides. It went through. It penetrated that nylon pocket and then went through the hammock. So I had to spend, I don't know, a couple of hours sewing up. What I basically did is I looked at all the pockets, and all the pockets were smashed and ready to do the same thing. It was like, man, this is either my primary hammock or it's my backup hammock. I gotta have two. I gotta have, some margin of safety. I don't like sleeping on the ground. I can always sleep on the ground. That's like the backup to the backup. But anyway, the Haven is probably on its way out unless Haven comes up with something new and special and something a little bit more bulletproof. Because I have to depend on the camping gear that I use, and this I can depend on. It took me 14 years to screw this up. It took me basically a year to screw up both of my Havens. So anyway, I don't know if that answers the question. It's difficult. It's difficult, and I don't like to talk bad about Derek's product, but it's like I also kind of want to apologize because I did not know. I've started hearing reports of people having problems too, and all this time I kind of thought it was just me until I started hearing other people going. Like Gary had the same problem with the pocket. He busted one of his Havens, and he's been having problems with the air mattress. And same thing. He's like, I'm done fooling with. And I'm like, okay, I understand, man. Sorry. Anyway, I hope nobody else is having problems like that. Where's the Haven? That answered that question. Motorcycle. I will answer that when I get the motorcycle. I don't have the motorcycle yet. I've just got a very tantalizing offer. First weekend of June. Maryville Towns. Yeah, Maryville's beautiful, man. Everything over there. So I'm guessing you're just gonna ride the Dragon, the Cherahalla, 28, all that stuff. I mean, there's tons and tons of roads over in that area. So, you ever in north central Arkansas got a creek you can camp on? Cool. You mean you got a creek on your property that I can camp on? That would be very cool. Or do you have a tip about a creek that I can camp on? Either one's cool. Especially if there's fish in that creek. Maybe I can catch some fish. Hey man, if you come to the rally in Maryville, there is a gentleman's club 20 minutes from the meetup stunt lot spot. You're going to a stunt rally? A stunt rally, and you're going to go to a strip club. Man, I appreciate it. I'm really not into strippers. I'm just I try to explain this to my friends. They just don't get it. I go to hang out with my boys and see some naked girls every once in a while. I'm just not into strippers. And I watch porn, so it's not like I'm a holier than thou. I'm certainly not holy. It's just not my thing. It's not my thing to watch women take off their clothes and buy expensive drinks. I don't know. There's just so many other ways to hang out with the boys. I just every once in a while. I mean, I think I probably Keith likes to do it, so I go hang out with him. But it's also like, okay, I saw the naked chicks. All it does is get me frustrated because I know how expensive they are and I can't afford them. So it's like, okay, well, Hell, I don't even know if I get frustrated anymore. It's like I've given up on women. Me and Gary have given up on women. Uh, you ever? Hey man, we think it would be fun to pack out a strip club parking lot. Sounds like fun. Oh, that's right. That's your rally. I forgot. That's your rally. Don't go to the Dragon first weekend of June because it's going to be packed with mini motos. Yeah, I may have to come back out there for the June thing. That just I've always wanted to go to that event. It's just the visual, if nothing else, the visual of seeing, you know, a bunch of mini bikes freaking tormenting everybody on the on the Dragon. That just sounds like fun. I had a bad experience with 14 Jeeps on the Dragon. Oh, but you got around them. What's your next bike going to be and why? Uh, that's a story that's coming up, and I will tell you every bit of the why. If I manage to get this bike, I'm going to tell you every bit of it. Where you headed next, Moto? Love following your travels. Well, thank you, MBR. Next, I'm slowly creeping my way up to Chicago. Gonna go up and help Keith out. Keith's remodeling his house, so I think that's still on the card. Still on the ticket. Slowly wind my way up there. I'm not in a hurry. As long as he's not in a hurry. The motorcycle camp and cook got canceled because there was either nobody responded to the. Well, we only got a couple of responses to the rescheduled event. The first one was going to be thunderstorms. I knew nobody was going to show up for that. And then the one that's scheduled next week, we rescheduled it, and we got basically one respondent, and that's a dude that lives like 30 minutes away. So even if it got rained out, it's no skin off of his dick. So yeah, so I've got nothing really. I need to make some money, so I need to sell that bike to get my other bike, or I need to go work. So that's the only thing that's coming up this spring. But man, it's been great so far to be back out in the woods and just chilling. And yeah, I think I'll go over. Oh, that looks. Oh, there's Kentucky. Oh, I'm damn. Oh, yeah. Oh, look, a lake, squirrels. I'm doing, and I tell you, having the loose ideas about where you want to go, what you want to do, what you want to achieve, having those loose plans and going, man, if I'm ever in Kentucky again, I'm gonna go by and visit Daniel Boone National Forest. I've been through there once, and it was really cool. And here I am. And yeah, hopefully, me and Liberty Forever. I think this is anyway. Hopefully, I'll send him a pin for the camp up here if he wants to join us. This is a great spot. This is on a ridge. I mean, it could. If they come knock some of these trees down right here, I could see the lake, but there's too many trees and leaves on the trees. And how dare they? They knew I was coming up here. There's two gigantic oaks over there. But other than that, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm on a ridge. I love camping on ridges, even though the last one I camped on was on the side of. Did y'all see my little short on top of Kingdom Come? I did not know there was such a thing. Kingdom Come State Park. And I just turned off on that road. Bloop. It's very exposed. Very beautiful, but very exposed. Basically on the side of a cliff. But it was a ridge. And then the place where I camped was 300-foot drop down. It's not straight. It's kind of like this, but very exposed. Turned into rain and wind and got pretty cold. But I survived. And this is night 3 in the old Blackbird, and it was pretty comfortable. The last 2, I mean, it's cold, and the Haven is more like sleeping in a bed. It's not as wide as a bed, but I can bounce around and roll around in there. This you kind of have to grab to adjust. And I usually slip down towards the bottom, So I had to grab this thing in the middle of the night and pull myself up, grab the ridge line and roll over. But it's four and a half times, four and a half times better than sleeping on the ground. So, you know, uh, years ago, I would say most of my motorcycle camping experience, I've taken a tent and a hammock, which is the other thing that I loved about the Haven is that not only very comfortable to sleep in. Let's say you're out in the desert, boys. Let's say you're out in some bug-laden environment that you want to be protected from the elements, and you want to sleep nice, and there's just no trees. Well, by God, you could put the thing on the ground, and I just really like that idea, and it worked great until the mattress failed. Until I punched out. I truly think the problem with the Haven is that the he just picked the wrong people to manufacture it, and I feel bad for Derek because he's a good guy. Just I hope I hope he gets the build under control. I would like to try a new and improved Haven. If you're watching, Derek, I would like to try the one that's gonna last a year. That would be outstanding. I would like to count on the Haven again. Uh, going for the going for the man. It's all about the giggles. Yeah, you probably can afford daytime strippers. Patty, the daytime stripper. My God, I didn't know anybody else saw that show. I love that girl. Oh my God, Patty, the daytime stripper. Yeah, it's where it's where the guys that need a drink at 11 o'clock in the morning go and they watch Patty. And dude, I back in the day, uh, when I didn't know any better, I'm thinking in my 20s. I remember going into these clubs, you know, riding through Florida and going to these middle of nowhere freaking block buildings. Uh, they would have good food, beer, and strippers, and they had Patty up there on stage. Not good looking women. They were all built like dancers because they all dance. But I keep telling the story about these Florida strippers at these little shitholes back then. I think that's probably the biggest reason I don't like strippers is because most of them don't know how to dance. They just get up there and move their hips and show their tits and snatch, and they're not dancing. They're not entertaining. But these girls that I saw in these little shithole clubs, these little block buildings in the middle of nowhere, Florida, just riding along. Oh, I need a beer and a sandwich. Stop in here at one of these little strip clubs. These girls could dance. I mean, if you put clothes on them and you couldn't see how toned and muscular their bodies were, if you just put clothes on them, most of them would be a 4 or a 5. You take the clothes off and there's like 6. You watch them dance. It's like, oh, okay, put a bag on her face. That is amazing. It's amazing to watch these girls dance. And they worked hard for it. They actually worked. Unlike these girls today that just get up there and shake their butts. And shake their butts, shake their snatch, shake their titties, and think that you're really getting into it. I think that's probably one of the biggest things why I don't like strip clubs anymore. I've been to some really nice strip clubs with beautiful women who are really good dancers and work really hard for their money. But most of them are just like, hey, you can't get porn on your computer, can you? Look at these. Here, stick $10 in my crotch. Sorry for all you strip club guys. I'm over it. I've been over it about 30 years. Uh, uh, I keep. I'm sorry. I keep the chat keeps spinning when I'm running my mouth. Daytime strippers. I love that. Most miles per gallon you can have. What's that? Strippers. Never caught a live stream before. Well, welcome, B Pound. Aren't you getting eaten alive by bugs? One just bit me. There's lots of these little tiny flat wing flies. I've studied entomology. I don't recognize these flies. They're very small. I'd say fruit flies, but they're bigger than fruit flies. They're lighting on me, but not really bothering me. Something just bit me earlier, but other than that, yeah, no, I haven't been really hit by mosquitoes yet. I haven't seen any mosquitoes. Just these flies are everywhere. These tiny little flies that look like um, do you get bothered? Do you use netting? Yes, I have a bug net on here. This is a jungle hammock, so works pretty good, except for the broken end of the hammock. Good subject for vid. What's your experience? Wondering if I need to bring netting next time. I'm not really sure. I would say, I would say it's really good to have bug netting because you never know where you're going to set up. You may have been to this area and camped here 100 times. Um, I mean, I would say this is mostly bug free, except for these little small flies. This is pretty bug free environment. I mean, I've been here for a couple of hours, so they may be smelling me and all moving in, and they're going to eat me alive any minute. I don't know, but I would say bug netting is very important um, for all hammocks. So if you don't have this, get some kind of a contraption so you can crawl in and escape them. Trust me. And not just that. If you're in a hammock, especially, my shit falls out of these hammocks. If I don't zip it up at night, I will kick everything that's inside my hammock except my butt out of It'll all go into the wind. So it's my little cage to keep all my stuff dry and out of the dirt. So yeah, I highly recommend bug nets. I've been camping in this for 14 years. Great hammock, very reliable, very comfortable. Um, hey, motorcycle giant, it's Moto Giant. What sleeping bag and temperature rating do you use? And sleeping pad. That's too many questions. You only get one at a time. No, I'm just kidding. Um, I have a 30-degree bag that I have had for freaking ever, much longer than this. Actually, I've got two of them. I alternate. I've got this old Kelty Pro Series bag I bought probably in the late 90s, early 2000s. And man, I can't believe the performance I've gotten out of this bag. It's a 30-degree bag. Liner. 30-degree bag. But the great thing about it is I know, look at this. Look how beaten this thing is. I don't know that I can recommend Kelty now because I don't even know if it's the same company. I'm sure they've got a different manufacturer, but this stuff is amazing. It's not down because there's no way it would be around if it was down. Um, but it's consistent. I know that I can survive in 20-degree weather in this bag. Um, I know I can be comfortable in 30 degrees. So um, anything below that, I'm gonna have to pop out the Big Agnes. But yeah, I don't want anybody to go out and buy Kelty because I told them about some gear that I bought 30 years ago. But this is amazing, and this is why I haven't upgraded. I would like to try some new stuff just to see, am I crazy? Is this just a fluke? How could I have possibly held on to all this gear for this long? Everybody that sees it is like, I don't understand. But all you got to do is look back at my history of camping. You can see I'm in this crap. I am in this crap for the last 14 years. I'm sure I've got video of me crawling into this bag, or at least pictures of something back in the early 2000s at least. So, it's kind of crazy. I would love to think that Kelty is still making quality products. I just don't know. I haven't bought anything from them since. Well, no, I bought a chair. That's maybe why I'm hesitating. I bought a chair from them in Colorado. It's just another cheap folding, thing that wasn't cheap. I think it was like 40 or $50. But I'm in Colorado. I just broke that very expensive chair that I've been carrying around forever. And I was pissed. And I walked into the store and I was like, oh, Kelty. Yeah, how much is this? Like, oh, it's got this, it's got this, it's got this nice little bag. You don't have to stuff it in the bag. You just wrap the bag around. I still got the bag. Anyway, the chair broke in like 6 weeks, 40, $50. So I don't know if they're chair guys or they just stamp their name on it. I hope that they're still making good stuff. I just haven't bought it. Well, no, I bought a tent not too long ago and it's still holding up. So that tent's probably 10, 15 years old, and it's been through hell too. So maybe Kelty's the way. I don't know. Yes, I have a creek on my property. Yes, there's fish, and I have two ponds with fish also. Well, hey man, if I head through the Ozarks, I'll give you a holler, dude. Uh, so check it out. The only homeless man I like, Taiwan owned. I'm guessing you're talking to me. I don't know that I could call myself homeless if you're referring to me. Homeless. I do not live in a house. Is that what you mean by homeless? Homeless to me are desperate people. I heard somebody. Oh, that's Bob Wells. If y'all wanna hear some of the wisdom that I've gained over the last few years, when I first sold my house and packed everything that I didn't sell into that bus and headed west, one of the first stops I made was the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous, and I met a guy called Bob Wells. He organized the event. Now I think there was like 600 people there. I think it was like the third or fourth year of the event. 600 people. Now it's like 10,000 people. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I remember him saying, I'm going to mess it up, but it's one of the best quotes I've ever heard. Um, he's been living in a van or something like a van, a cargo box. He's done several different things, and he's extraordinarily happy, and he's teaching other people how to do it. And he was being interviewed. What a great documentary about a bunch of those people, nomads. That's what I call myself. I don't call myself a vagabond because I'm much more of a nomad. That's kind of me. Temperature. I move with the temperature. It's not that I have some kind of purpose or I have to be in some kind of vehicle or whatever. I like to move with the seasons. So I go up when it's hot. I go down when it's cold. Anyway, Bob's response to one of the questions that the interviewer asked was, I'm trying to best to paraphrase it. People call me homeless. He said, I'm not homeless. The homeless are people that don't want to be there. I want to be here. I love living this life that I'm living. A homeless person doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be living in the streets. He doesn't want to be living in his car. These flies I'm talking about. I'm just killing them because they're annoying. It's annoying me that there's bugs on my skin. Anyway, that's kind of what he said, and I really admire that because that's the way I've always felt. It's like homeless. I think homeless is in your head. If if you think that you've got to have a roof and a mortgage, or that you've got to be paying someone rent to live indoors, and if you don't do that, then you're homeless. Then yeah, I guess I qualify, but I see it completely differently. And you know, the vagabonds that I know, Scooter Tramp Scotty, one of the most well-known vagabonds, or whatever he calls himself. I think he calls himself a vagabond. No, he calls himself a drifter, which I hate that name too. That's what the police call you. Drifter. Oh, this drifter came through and murdered 12 people. Yeah, I don't want to be I don't want to be known as the drifter. So I like nomad. I like nomad because there's a large group of people in the world that consider themselves nomads, and most of the time they're moving with seasons across their environment. And I really like that idea. Homeless, I don't like that idea of the word homeless because, you know, I'm home. I've heard somebody else, I think Z said that. I'm home. She had somebody ask her at a gas station, where's your home? She pointed to her motorcycle and got a real weird reaction. I would never do that because I don't live on my motorcycle. I live off my motorcycle. Usually, that's what I tell people. I'm living off my motorcycle. You say you're living on your motorcycle. Well, apparently there's people that can sleep on their motorcycle, but not this bitch. This bitch got to have a little bit more comfort. But yeah, I don't know if that homeless. Yeah, I haven't had anybody call me homeless in a while. The Haven is like a BMW. Great when it works. Yeah. Um, are the Havens not robust enough for a 300-pound person? Should be by now. Charles, I, initially that's what I thought. I think they're rated to 350, but I'm not the only one having problems with the mattress, and that's why I'm just kind of like, okay, if it's other people, the mattresses are leaking down. They've just got a bad manufacturer, and it's not just Haven. Every pillow, every inflatable pillow that I have ever purchased has leaked, and usually it's within 2 or 3 weeks. So I spend $40, $50 on a freaking pillow that I go, it squishes down into nothing. It squishes down into something I could put in my pocket. I'll put air into it, put my head on it, and it leaks down in an hour. There's something going on with the manufacturing of these devices, and I think that's the biggest problem with Haven is the mattress and whatever liner they're putting in there. I think you can roll it up so many times, and that's it. So here's your emergency pillow that you can use 10 times, and then it starts leaking. And that's basically what all my mattresses. They started leaking very slow. Had to get up in the middle of the night, put a couple of puffs in it, and then it was a week of that, and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you're getting up 2 or 3 times a night to be able to sleep. Otherwise, you're going to freeze your balls off because that's also. It's not just giving form to the to the hammock; it's keeping your ass off the cold nylon. So anyway, I don't want to make this show about Havens, so we'll have to move on. I'll do a Q&A about Havens if we need to. Yep, how we grow. Don't go to the club for the boobs anymore. My girl and I go for music and a couple drinks. Yeah, if there was some real dancing, I would go to the clubs. I just haven't seen any in a while. I haven't seen good dancers in quite some time. Do they have butterfaces? Butterfaces, yes indeed. Mosquitoes. Are we still live? Mosquitoes are already out in force here in the PNW. Y'all are lucky. Yeah, there's mosquitoes out. I've been bit, but it's probably been 2 or 3 times. Is the netting cicada proof? Man, this mosquito netting is everything proof. It's probably bulletproof. You dig a hole when popping or cover with foliage. What does that mean? Dig a hole. Do you dig a hole? TW, what does that mean? Yo, what's up, Keith? When's the last time your legs saw sun? It's been a while. It's been a winter, man. Show me your legs. I mean, yeah. Yeah, welcome to the sunshine. At least I got my damn legs out getting some sun. All right. All right, let's go to the chat and pick on Don. Fine. Fine. I'm here for it. Let's see if I can bring this chat window back up. Is anybody still in here? Is it just me? How do I get the chat window back up? Oh, there we go. Pooping. So, do I dig a hole when pooping or cover with foliage? TW, I made a whole freaking video about that. Obviously, you did not see that video. So I will say, if you want the answer to that question, go find my pooping video. I can't even remember. It's probably 2 or 3, less than a month ago. It's not hard. It shouldn't be hard to find. My legs require sunglasses to look at. So I get, well, I think maybe it's these reflective, these emergency socks I've got on. Maybe that's what's drawing everybody's eyes to my legs. 31 people in here. What's up? What do y'all want to talk about besides Haven hammocks? I'll talk about any other topic. If you don't know, I'm in Kentucky in the Daniel Boone National Forest. One of my other viewers, Liberty Forever, is out here. He's on his way out here. I don't know if he's coming by my camp or they're making their own. We decided wherever we make camp, we'll exchange pins. So if I don't hook up with him tonight, I'll hook up with him before they leave. He's got another buddy, so didn't want to inject myself into his thing, but I didn't want to meet him. I like meeting anybody that watches my stuff and comments regularly. So, in other words, if you ever want to hang out with me and you think I'm coming through your town and I'm just going to stop and you've never commented on my video, you've never caught a live stream, I don't know who the hell you are. Guess what the chances are of me stopping into your town or meeting you out in the woods somewhere, meeting you for lunch, if I don't know who you are, but if you say, oh yeah, I'm I'm Bad Dog McGinty, I'd be like, oh yeah, I remember you, dude. Or I'm B Pound. I'd be like, yeah, dude, where you at? Yeah, I'm coming through there. Yeah. Meet you for lunch, breakfast, grab a coffee, hang out in the woods if I know you. If I don't know you, if you've never commented, guess what? Probably won't even respond. Hey, you're coming through my neck of the woods. Hey, can you come to my house? Nope. No, I can't. Especially if I don't know you. Pooping. What's your favorite food to make at camp? Ah, that's tough, man. Usually the easiest one. Um, I have got so much firewood around here tonight. I am probably going to make the stuff that is in my that I've been toting for over a week now. I've got some sausage, which is not Kaneka, but don't blame the folks from Georgia because they sent the only sausage that I thought was interesting. They sent it all the way up to North Carolina. I bought it in one of the little small shops because it was the only interesting sausage there. It's not great. It's better than Hillshire Farms and all that other crap. So I got some sausage I need to cook up, and I've got some beans and rice and some green onions. So I'm gonna chop up. So I'm gonna build me a little quick fire. I'm gonna chop up some sausage, brown that nice and crispy. Throw in some scallions, throw those beans in, and throw them all over the top of some rice. It's not keto, but I'm hungry and I need to get that stuff cooked and out of my little folding cooler. So I would say that might be one of my favorite dishes to, because it's relatively easy. It's basically you need to cook up 2 pots of stuff. So usually I stir up. I've got that cool skillet that I've got that cooks anything without burning it. Cook a skillet of the brown the sausage, pour in the beans. So I've got that. Cook up the bowl of rice, and then throw it on top of each other and eat till I shouldn't be eating anymore. Favorite? I tell you, I'm kind of along the same lines for easy. I really like the spiked ramen. Y'all may have seen my spiked ramen, and that's you don't have to follow my recipe. It's ramen plus something fresh or several things that are fresh. The things I probably didn't talk about a lot are any kind of pepper, any kind of meat. I would say typically sausage is really good, maybe some chicken, and anything fresh, anything that you can get from the store. I like mushrooms. I like to top it off with scallions, but it's really easy. You boil some water, you throw it in some noodles, and then throw some crap in on top of it. I really like the spike ramen because it's relatively easy, fast, and cheap. And the other thing I probably should mention is the fact that I'm pretty close to being $10 a day, and I want to do a video about that, my budget, because this might be the real low budget adventure that I'm on right now. Because I'm rattling around right at $10 a day, and I'm only talking about food because uh, if you take gas out of the equation, if you take fuel and tires out of the equation, then it's all about, are you just hanging out or are you racing across country? Because you could spend 50, 60, $70 a day in fuel if you wanted to, if you just wanted to, iron butt it across the country. So if you take that item out of your budget and you say just food and water, well, water's free if you know how to filter it. That's what I'm doing right there. Um, so I I would say I'm probably somewhere between $7 and $12 a day. So I'm trying to see if I can do a consistently average of $10 a day for food, and that should be, besides fuel and tires, that should be your biggest expense when you're out here. I just finished. Speaking of budget, I just finished a critique of As the Magpie Flies. Amanda Zito. I'm sure several of you guys watch her. I do. I've been watching her for years. And I just did a critique of her campground thing. I just before I left, I started watching some of her videos, catching up. I was like, holy crap. I watched 3 videos in a row, and she's in a campground in all 3 of them and bitching about the campgrounds. And I'm like, she's always camping in campgrounds. She should know better. So I just took some clips. I was like, why is she doing this? Why does she not have the confidence, the competence? She should have all that stuff. But that was one part of the criticism. I didn't even go into her budget. In 2022, she was on the road for 34 days. I was out there for 6 months. In 34 days, she spent over $5,000 traveling around. She spends a lot of hotel time too, but she camps like, I can't remember what her camping budget was, but she spent a lot of money on campgrounds, like crappy, expensive campgrounds. And that's the video. I just finished it, uploaded it this morning. Should be out next Wednesday. I got another video from the trail coming out Saturday. Trying to space them out so you guys will watch them. But anyway, I think some of you guys will be very interested in that. Some of you might even be angry, despite the fact that Mike Rowe put a warning on the front of it saying, hey, if you can't distinguish between criticism of ideas and people, don't watch this video. And if Mike Rowe says it, you should believe it. Favorite food. Never seen a homeless person riding an Africa Twin or a Triumph. Well, I've seen lots of homeless people driving around in cars and living in cars, and you could tell a homeless person between somebody like me. A homeless person is disheveled. They look angry, and they probably are angry. They're angry at the world and how the world has treated them to let them in this condition. It's probably something else that they did. So, that's the Bob Wells thing. I didn't finish the Bob Wells quote. A homeless person does not choose to be where he's at. I choose to be here. I choose to live in a van or this cargo thing or this. In my case, it was a schoolie. We made those choices because we reject those other types of living. A homeless person did not choose that. They're forced to live there. And I think that's probably the big difference. And the vagabonds you see, or at least the ones I've run into and talked to at length and interviewed, they all pretty much say the same thing. I love this. I love being out here. I haven't yet run into anybody. I probably wouldn't be hanging out with them if they did say, yeah, this sucks. I have to live on my motorcycle. I haven't met those people. Um, I've seen the people living in their cars or their vans that don't want to be there, but that's a completely different group of people. And usually, almost exclusively, the people that you see that are living in a vehicle and they're angry, they're still living in a city. And if you're not doing it right, it could be a miserable life. If you're forced to sleep every night in a car and you don't want to be there, or you haven't made the car comfortable, and you got all your other crap in there too, and you're constantly being harassed by the man because he doesn't want you parking in front of my house, because I called him and said, man, there's some homeless guy parked out in front of my house again. um, those people are miserable, but all they got to do is figure out how to do it right and live better, if that's really what they want to do. Otherwise, figure out how to get back in the mainstream and do whatever the hell that makes you happy. It's a big, huge difference between the people that are living in a tent downtown LA and people living like me. It's a huge difference. And most of the time, it's like the difference is, I trim my hair every once in a while. I try to keep my beard. I'm carrying around a damn beard trimmer. I don't want to carry the damn thing around. I just don't want to look like a homeless guy. I certainly don't want to smell like one. That's what that big black bag is for over there. Buddy, I can talk, can I? I can talk when I have something interesting to talk about. And I'm passionate about this topic, so. And I've been talking about it for years. I've been talking about living on the road and doing things differently for a long time. How often do you get busted stealth camping? Very rarely. Very rarely, because I'm so good at it. Maybe changes to cook or coffee setup. The changes that you have seen this year, you've probably seen if you've been watching my channel. The Zaldiran grill. I don't carry the firebox anymore. It's the Zaldiran grill or butane canister stove. I got a new skillet that I absolutely love. It's got a folding handle, detachable handle. And then I've got a kettle that I haven't showed much of the kettle, but I've been using that a lot lately. And you'll see if I get a chance to make coffee in the morning, you'll see that kettle in action. I may make me a tripod, and it'll be cool if I wind up doing that. 90 minutes south of Seattle, a long ways from you right now. So when is the North Georgia rally camp ride thing happening? North Georgia. I'm not sure that's in the cards. I'm guessing you're talking about the Camp and Cook. The last scheduled Camp and Cook we had was supposed to be in Texas, but it got canceled due to weather and lack of interest. I think maybe everybody that wants to camp and cook is in the Southeast. I don't know. I've had a lot of interest from people out in the Rockies, mostly like around the Colorado area. So there's a good chance that we might have another one out there. There's a good chance that the Texas thing might happen, just maybe not till fall. I don't know. Do you miss hanging in the Pinions? Of freaking course. I love the Pinions. I love hanging out there. I love pretty much the Rockies. So if you say, do I miss the Rockies? It's kind of like asking me, do I miss beer? Yes, I miss beer. I miss the Rockies. You have a bunch of ticks in the South, don't you? Yes, we have ticks here. It's good to know where they are and how to avoid them. Usually I just stay clear of the pine thickets and the deep brush. And I can probably count on 15 hands how many ticks I've had over my life. As far as biting, the ticks that have bit me, I probably had less than 10 that had their fangs in me, but I've maybe had 150 ticks. But a lot of them, you can feel them crawling up your leg, and you just pick them up. You smash them with your fingernail and flick them off. Otherwise, they'll keep crawling and they'll get up into your armpits and your crotch. And in your hair. You don't want ticks in your hair. But yeah, it's not so it's like bears. It's not really something that you spend a lot of time worrying about. You just do your prep. And if you got to walk through brush or pine thickets or anything like that, just spray your legs down. Most of the time that'll help take care of it. It's good to understand the life cycle of ticks because when you're walking through the woods, if you've ever seen video or pictures of ticks on the end of a piece of grass or brush or something like that, when they smell CO2, they do this. I want to ride. And these little bitty things sitting on the end of a blade of grass, you'll never see them, but the next thing you know, they'll be crawling up you. So it's good to, like if you're wearing pants, put your socks over your pants. Same thing, tuck your shirt in. That way, when they get on you, everybody can't feel ticks because they're very small, thin-bodied, flat-bodied insects, but they cause disease. I think that's the big thing. They cause Lyme disease and other Rocky Mountain spotted fever and stuff like that. Found Conecuh sausage at Costco. Thought immediately of the giant. Oh, well, good. Costco has got Conecuh. That's good to know. Did not know that. I found dehydrated ramen toppers on Amazon. Comes with corn, peas, green onions, cabbage. Awesome for gourmet campfire. I think anything added to ramen would probably be a good fit because ramen, as a rule, is pretty freaking boring. Especially if you add some texture, color, and a little bit of flavor, it just kind of knocks it out of the park. And easy, the hardest thing you'll do is chopping those little things up. But packets are good too. At right hand, I just found that Amazon too. Yeah, I got to go back through Amazon and take a look at some of the stuff that they're doing. I may do some different things with Amazon because I've been concentrating on the Dollar General thing. Here's the stuff that you can eat out of a Dollar General, and especially some of the Dollar Generals have fresh markets in them, so they actually have fresh vegetables and reasonably priced vegetables too. They got broccoli and cauliflower and bell peppers and potatoes and onions, and basically like a half size produce market. And it's most of the stuff that I've had there is pretty fresh. Their meat, I guess it depends on the fresh meat I'm talking about. Go camping so I don't have to deal with neighbors. Yeah. Wealth is not having many wants, it's having few needs. Oh, that's pretty good. Camping cook, that was it. Yeah, so I don't know if you understood what I was saying. Camping Cook in Texas was canceled. It may be on again. The Camping Cooks in the Southeast have always been very successful. Tennessee, North Georgia. So we may have another one in the fall. May just wait again till next spring. I would like 10, 12, 15 people to show up. I think it would be a lot more interesting. And the spots that I pick, we could totally do that. Tellico Plains is a really good spot. We could expand. That place outside of Helen was fantastic. I like the convenience too. I like being able to go, let's get on the bike and ride into town. It's 12 miles away. We can get whatever supplies we need and rough it in the woods. And that's really kind of what we're doing. But, it shouldn't be, you better bring it all in before you get off the pavement because, there's nothing out here except trees. I want to try to make this as accessible as I can and give people an experience. And just it's not just about me. It's about being around other people that are interested in the same things. When you throw people in a pit, you throw them all in a room and you go, hey, y'all, let's talk about this. Everybody's got unique experiences. Everybody's bringing something else to the table. And, you might be surprised where the stuff comes from because it's not only going to come from the Moto Giant. It's going to be coming from, Gary and Carl and all the other guys that show up. It's like, oh, here's the way I've been doing it. It's like, I wish somebody would have showed me that years ago. Yeah. If you think I've got it all figured out, you're mistaken. But I do have some good shortcuts. And And the main thing is just getting out in the woods and have a good time. Ride your motorcycle, get out here, enjoy nature. I am the loudest thing out here. I paused for a second to see if I could hear birds or anything. And like normal, I'm the loudest thing in the woods, which is exactly the way I like it. There's a there's a small county road out here, 300-400 yards away. Apparently, there's nobody that comes down. There's people that live out here. There may be 20, 30 houses between here and the lake. There may be more than that, but I figured I saw 15 or 20, so I figured there's probably at least 30. Anyway, good spot. If you guys got any more questions, otherwise I'm gonna start cooking. I'm getting hungry. I may eat bug nuggets tonight. The guy that sent me bug nuggets, Bruce, he sent me his version. It's Thai noodle. He called it bug nuggets because he liked my bug nugget thing. It's basically a bag of a bunch of different ingredients that he actually made. Okay, he didn't make it. He put it in individual packets. It's a big, thick packet. I may make that tonight. I was going to take that to the camp and cook, but since that's not happening anymore, no, I gotta make that sausage. I gotta get that stuff. It's getting to the point of not being healthy anymore. So I think I've had those sausages for 3 days. Fully cooked, by the way. Camping cook. Cardo or Senna? Cardo. Senna, never again. Never again. Cardo rocks. The new Cardos rock. Gary didn't want bunch of a-holes on his property. No, Gary was all about it. I think Gary's pretty disappointed that the weather shit on everything. And then the weather's coming in again next week. Tentatively, we don't know. But combined with the fact that that we only had a couple people respond after the reschedule. So it could have been, okay, I got vacation for this week and fucking rain. Or it could be, meh, Texas. And it could be. That's a long way, man. From here, I think it's like 800 miles. So who knows? Texas is a big state. It's going to get hot there. So the closer we get to summer, the less I'm interested. I don't want to go hang out in West Texas in the summer. I'm surprised Gary does. Gary likes the heat. He grew up there, so. But yeah, he was all about it. He got out there and dug latrines. It's firewood's chopped. He's got everything ready. He was ready to go. So it's not Gary. Back. What's up, man? Can you give some pointers on how to pick your stealth campsites? I've made a few videos in the past. I probably need a comprehensive video, but it really depends on more of where you are, because if you're closer to the cities, it gets a whole lot harder, and you have to be a whole lot pickier, and you have to think about. I would tell you the biggest tip that I consistently talk about is wherever you're going, if you can scout it out before you go in, scout it out. If you can't, if you're going to make one mad dash in, don't let anybody see you going in. Because let's just pretend my little spot here, there's a house here and there's a house here. They can't see me from here. But as they drive by, going to their homes, going back and forth to work, if they see somebody pulling in out here and going, hey, who's that guy on the motorcycle? What's he doing? Where's he going? He's up to no good. That's all you have to do. And I think this is probably one of the biggest things that people overlook. Getting into your spot as quickly, quietly, and drawing as little attention as you can. That's probably the biggest thing I can give you tip-wise is, get out of traffic, get out of eyeballs as quickly as you can. Usually my stealth spots are off the road. Usually it's a couple of turns. Usually I go off the road, dirt path, dirt trail, and then go off again. This is so remote that it's not that big of a deal. It's an old forest road that has been that had a gate on it that they took the gate off, but nobody's maintaining it. So it's basically a dive out into the woods. And you don't have to worry about it out here. It's not really stealth camping, but it's not dispersed camping. It's not assigned camping. It's not a campground. So kind of it qualifies. And I don't care if somebody saw me coming out here as much as I would if I was camping in your neighborhood, say. But if I was camping in your neighborhood, the biggest single factor that you can do is when you're going into the woods, when you're going behind that sign, when you're going behind that thing, don't let anybody see it. And I think that's the one thing that everybody that I've camped with fails on. They're just like, oh, I don't care. Well, hope nobody finds us out here. Well, those 12 cars that just passed that are all calling 911 going, hey, there's somebody in my neighbor's backyard. What's he doing? I think that's probably the most important and most overlooked thing. Hide your shit when you get out in the woods. All that stuff comes later. And that's kind of a little bit more of a signing off now. Lexus Live format. That's pretty cool. See you next time. Thanks for showing up. Right hand twist. See you next time. I'm going to have stuffed bell peppers out of the microwave in my truck. Man, I wish I could carry around a microwave. That would be nice. Talk about a quick cooking show. Deep, deep, deep. Beep, beep, beep. It's the biggest hail you've ever seen. I have seen some hails, normal size like that, and then some irregulars, baseball size. We don't get a lot of hail out here in the South. You guys have got all the hail in the Rockies because y'all got those big storms, got those big wet clouds, cold air mixing and pushing that shit up and pushing it up and pushing it up. You got the little bitty balls that turn to huge balls, like my balls. Ever tried dehydrating your own food for moto camp meals? No, but as I was saying earlier, my buddy Bruce, who's out here camping somewhere or on his way out here camping somewhere, has made exactly that. A lot of his stuff was, I think, prefabricated, but he dehydrates. I really want to do it. I'm just kind of I don't know the ins and outs. I really need to do the research, but it's also like you can only carry so much food. For you guys going out in the woods on the weekend, man, you can carry all that food. You can carry everything you need for a weekend. But me on the bike, it doesn't really fit as well because I go out for weeks and months at a time. I can't carry. I'm already carrying too much shit. I can't carry 30 meals on my bike. It doesn't do me any good. So I like the idea. It just doesn't fit because I'm moving and I only have so much space. So that's a good question. I really like the idea. I want to learn how to do it. But for now, I'm stuck purchasing stuff on the road, pretty much. I have been carrying that bag of bug nuggets around with me, and I'm excited to eventually dig into that bag. Of course, I'll film that. I've already filmed one thing. I can't remember what it was called, but it's probably bug nuggets. Delicious. That's all I can tell you. I make sure I don't disturb the leaves by ripping into the woods for a while before I get to my still spot. It's easier for me, though. I have a KLR, so rooster tails are pretty hard. Come on now. Yeah, disturbing your entrance, that's a pretty big sign. Especially, if you think about the big people, most of the people that are concerned, the people you have to worry about is not law enforcement. Law enforcement is coming out there to check on a complaint, a call. They're not scooping around. They're not looking through the woods with a spotlight trying to find people that are camping where they shouldn't be. It's always 98% of the time, it's always somebody called in, some suspicious person. It's not, hey, I think there's somebody out here stealth camping in my woods, because the cops are like, really? Come on. No, they're out behind my house. There's somebody out there with a flashlight. Can you come check them out? They bring the dogs, man. It's a freaking roundup. Hell yeah, let's go get these criminals out in the woods. That's the call. So if you're out in the woods at night behind somebody's house with your flashlight on, stomping around, you're gonna get shot. You better watch your ass. So the big thing is, hunker down. Get off the road without anybody knowing that you're behind their house where you're not supposed to be. That's probably the biggest tip. I don't know that I've ever heard anybody talk about that. I don't know. I'm sure Steve Wallace has probably covered it. It's been a while since I watched any of his stuff, but I mean that's the basics. Wherever you're going, get in and get out without anybody seeing you. Getting out's not that important. Getting out is you're leaving. So, what were you doing out there? None you? Well, we're gonna walk back up in there, and if I see anything, if you got a moonshine still out there, I'm gonna come talk to you. Okay, good luck with that. See ya. Beep. It's getting in. It's getting in without anybody seeing you, and setting up without anybody seeing you, and sleeping without anybody noticing you're back there. I mean, I could probably break it down into some essentials. I think I did something. Yeah, I did a little stealth video not too long ago. I'll probably do some more when I think about them. That's exactly. Don't like my aftermarket pipe. Not so stealthy. Yeah. Well, I mean, I've spent the last 20, 30 years riding around with the guys in the woods where we're not supposed to be 9 times out of just riding. And I'm sneaking in and sneaking out. You can't hear me unless you're less than 200 yards away from me. And these clowns on their freaking, loud ass, everybody listen to me. We can't sneak in with those assholes because they're brapping all the way up the damn mountain and brapping all the way down the other side. Oh, somebody's out here. I'm going to get on my four-wheeler and grab my shotgun and go confront these boys. Well, luckily we could always outrun the guy on the four-wheeler, but brap. Yeah, nobody wants to hear your shit, man. If you had to cut 15 pounds out of your camping gear, what would go? That's a good question. I've got too much cooking gear because my plans were to carry all this extra stuff for demos. Here, this is how you use this. Here's how you use that. I would probably cut at least half of the cooking stuff that I've got. That's not a lot of weight. I've got a lot of bulk. I've cut the clothes in half from what I took on the tap. I've got 3 t-shirts. I had to pick up some socks because I didn't bring any underwear or socks. I had it in a pile, ready to go. Underwear and socks is really important because you don't want those getting all funky and nasty. Shirts, you'll know when it's time to change those. So t-shirts, yeah, I've cut my clothes in half. These are the only pants that I have. The other pants are liners or that it's riding gear. So I got pants, the liners for my summer riding gear pants. I've been wearing those out in public because number one, they're nice and warm. I wear them to bed too. They're nice and warm. So this is the only pants. Blue jeans, waste of time. My what was that? Was it the 2022? Yeah, the low budget. I think I took 3 pair of jeans and came back with one because they all got destroyed. Yeah, no more. I'm not carrying jeans anymore. It's going to be a light, compactable something to go into stores, or I'm wearing my riding gear. Yeah, so that was a big reduction. I'm trying to think of what I've got on now. The Haven. The Haven's next on the chopping block. I got to get rid of it. It's just too big, too bulky, too heavy, and I can't depend on it. So I'm probably going to be swap. I need to find a new hammock. This thing is getting to the point where it's worn out. 14 years. So I want to have another backup hammock, something new, something comfortable. Yeah. Getting rid of that Haven's huge bulk and weight savings. So yeah, Haven's on the chopping block. End of this trip, unless they come up with a much lighter, much more durable, dependable system, I'm done with Haven's. Good question, Moist. 15 pounds. That's close to 15. That Haven's close to 15. I think it's like 9 pounds. It's close. So that camping gear, the extra cooking gear in the Haven, easy. The nomads I've met are so far are van dwellers, but I live in the north year round. They all have been salt of the earth. Yeah, I like nomads. I'm not a homeless guy, people, but the people that are enjoying life, living in their vans, cars, um, panel trucks. I've met some of the coolest people on planet Earth, and I miss hanging out with them. I need to go back to some of those events, the nomads. I started at an event that I've never been to, that apparently has grown into this monster. Um, what was it? It was 2017. I started this event. I was going to do something similar to the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous and Schoolie Palooza. I named it Schoolie Palooza, and it was going to be in the same place they had the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. In fact, I was going to be butted right up against Bob's event, and called him, got it all put together, and my bus kept breaking down, and I broke it like twice, and I was in like 15, $12,000 in like several weeks, and finally it just started blowing oil. I was like, I'm done. I gotta save the little bit of money I've got left in my bank account and take all my shit. I just rented a van, and it was like 2 or 3 weeks before the event. So the first event went really well. There was like 20, 30 schoolies showed up, and now it's like several hundred, I think. So anyway, yeah, very cool people. I'm hoping to run out there and meet them. The problem is it's in winter and I'm on a motorcycle. Normally I'm just like, show up in the desert. But in winter in Arizona, it gets pretty cold and it gets very windy and it gets wet. So, and I don't like doing any of those things. So, and not just that, I gotta cross the Rockies, even the low Rockies, to get there. So I just haven't been because I'm on a motorcycle, and it's on the ground too, which is, I could do that for a few days just to hang out with those folks. But anyway, yeah, I like nomads, man. Boiled a fish. I've never boiled a fish. Ever been caught stealth camping? Yes, I think we covered this earlier in the stream. How about putting less weight on the bike by filling the tank with 2 less gallons? I also need to lose 15 pounds. So there's that. I need to lose about 70 pounds. I probably lost about 10 pounds on this trip already. So everything's fitting nicer. I don't wear underwear and throw my socks and shirts away. I just buy more. Yeah, well, this last socks and underwear thing that I just like, I mean, I could have thrown half the socks away because they're kind of in my way. But I like socks. I've also figured out when my socks are dirty, I can use that as a washcloth. So I got that. Okay, they're dirty, but so's my stinky ass. Like, and you can put your hand on it so you don't drop it. You don't drop the soap. For real, how often do you check your tire pressure? When my tires feel funny, yeah, I never check my tire pressure. The last time I checked my tire pressure is when somebody pulled up beside me and said, "Hey man, your rear tire looks low." I was like, "Oh shit." I check visually almost every time I get on the bike. I look at my tires because I go through tires really quickly. Let me go get a sweater on. It's getting a little bit chilly. I'll be right back. Oh. I talk about fleece a lot. I've been talking about layering also, and that's going to be coming up. Topics: how to stay warm, especially like this is early spring, very early up here in the mountains, so it gets cold. Last night it was 41. The night before that, I think it was 42. I had a few nights up off the Blue Ridge Parkway in the low 30s. So it's good to understand how to stay warm when the temperatures go down, especially in hammocks, because you're very vulnerable in these things. Because if you don't know, if everybody's going to run out there and go get their eBay hammock or their Amazon hammock, go get their $30 hammock, and they're going to go, man, I'm going to go camping tonight. You're going to find out real quick that you're not going to sleep very good because you got to do some prep, not just sleeping bag, but you got to do something underneath your hammock to keep you from freezing your balls off, because this is like sitting on a block of ice when it goes down below 65 degrees. These are great in the summer, especially when it's hot. You don't need a sleeping bag. You don't need a blanket. You just sit in here and go, I'm so hot. I'm so hot. I'm so ooh, cooled off. In fact, you might get a little bit chilled. But yeah, in the summer, I've slept with nothing. Just sit in here and it's nice and cool. But when the temperatures drop, you need to have something. You need to be sitting on top of something, either an air mattress underneath your layers, or you need something. But also, I've been talking a lot about fleece and poly layers, and you'll see all this coming out soon. But it's a lot of things. I'm still surprised that people aren't aware of layering. Just had a conversation this morning about layering, and the guy I was talking to didn't know what the heck I was talking about. But basically, you're putting a layer of either wool or poly on your skin to help the moisture from your body escape. So, in other words, cotton is a terrible base layer. And people find that out the hard way. You start sweating, you start soaking your clothes in water, and then you crawl into your tent or your hammock, and you find out that you can't warm up because you're wet. Your body's wet. It's basically you're sitting in a pool of sweat. And the only way to address that is layers. And this is a great layer. I talk about this fleece I've been wearing for over a decade. It's got holes in it. I've got multiple, I probably got 10 other fleece sweaters like this, zip up, very comfortable, but none of them perform on my motorcycle or when I'm sleeping like this. I think I probably paid $40 for this. This is not something special. I don't even know the name brand of it, but it's like when you find something that works, you just go, that's it. Nothing I've tried works better than this. Like the fleece or the this poly um, pajamas that I sleep in, those poly layers, I've had those things for 25, 30 years too. Patagonia, I paid a fortune for them back then. Back in the late 90s, when I was getting cold at night, and somebody said, "Oh, you got to do this. You got to have a base layer." Like, what the heck's a base layer? Well, it's basically like long johns, and that's what they are. They look like tight-fitting pajamas. They're stretchy. They're very comfortable. But the main thing is they get that moisture off your skin, and then you could put something like this on top of it. That's typically what I do. I've got, you know, here shortly, I'm going to put those polys on so I can walk around camp and be perfectly comfortable. If the wind starts blowing, the wind goes straight through them. But you could put another layer on something like this. So I slept in this jacket, this liner for one of my riding jackets. Slept in that and my um, liner for my pants. Um, Perfectly comfortable. 41 degrees when I woke up this morning. I didn't want to get out of the hammock. It was cold. good, good, good questions. Good discussion topics here. This makes it much easier than me just rattling. Because I can run my mouth. Y'all know me. I can run my mouth for an hour easily. Where do you store your stuff? Do you own property? Yes, I own property. I've got some family property. I've got all my stuff is in my last schoolie. I have a converted coach, a bus. Basically, a bought it from the University of Nebraska. Pulled all the seats out, most of the seats out, and converted it into an RV. And I drove it around. It's my second schoolie. The first one, I went around the country twice, and it broke. And I think that's what I was. You may have been present here earlier. Uh, If you go back, you can find my old schooly videos, but they were really putting a dent on the rest of my channel, so I hid most of my schooly videos. But I've got 100 and something videos about me living in a school bus. So I've got 100 and I don't know 20 videos about my adventure starting in 2015. I sold my house, sold almost all my crap, and crammed a motorcycle and the rest of my stuff inside a school bus, and then just did the nomad thing for a couple of years. It was fantastic, and I miss it so much. If I was doing anything, that's what I would be doing, because I can jam the bus that I've got now. I can. It's got an elevator in the back. I push the motorcycle in. If I had my choice, that's what I'd be doing now. That's how I'd be living my life, because that to me, that's the best life that I've ever lived, is having my home in one location, and when it gets cold or when it gets hot, I move it to another location and then explore. Doing basically what I'm doing now, except it's so much easier because I can have all my clothes. I can have I can have all the stuff, all my tools. I can have all the stuff that I need that all you guys have in your garage. I can stick in my school. That's not. I don't have all the stuff. I had to downsize. I had to downsize. But yeah, that was great. Yeah, I think might be able to find some of my old schooly stuff. Get in the playlist if you can find it. But there's a lot of interesting stuff. You might learn some stuff from that. The people that are into that kind of lifestyle love those videos, but it's not really the same people that like motorcycles. So it was really, I think it was destroying my channel. I think that's why my channel sucks so bad now, because I got a ton of schooly folks, and then when I stopped doing the schooly thing, doing more motorcycle stuff, they're like, "Where's the schoolie? I don't. You're one of those guys," and vice versa. When I started doing the schoolie thing, it's like all the motorcycle folks left. No, anyway, concerning personal handies, dry or lubed. Oh, come on now. The real fans need to know who just walked behind you. Don't know whoever it was. Did I tell y'all I camped in a cemetery last night? Very cool. I made it, shot a little bit of video. I should have shot something this morning, but a guy showed up early, started cutting the grass, so y'all didn't get that experience. But it was a cool, it's a very interesting night. I love cemeteries. Hello, Moto Giant. Moto Giant, so busy talking he didn't hear him, I guess. Oh, you're saying somebody walked behind me? Yeah, no, I would have heard him. I'm not that deaf. Yep, guy was trying stealthy too, though, in those leaves. Yeah, that would have been awesome if somebody walked up. Now, I would have heard somebody if they were walking up. Though. Even, I mean, there's a lot of leaves out here, so yeah, I'm thinking maybe he could have been back so far back. Maybe I didn't hear him. I don't know. If he was that far back, he would have been right above my head. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anybody could have seen him if I couldn't hear him, because it's very quiet out here. It's just me. I'm the loudest thing out here. All right, how long we been doing this, y'all? An hour? Is that what y'all got? How do y'all like my white legs? As the sun goes down, as they're getting wider and wider. I think that's hilarious. All right, 30 people in here. I hate to cut it short, but anybody got any more questions? Anything before we sign off? I gotta get to cooking while there's still some daylight out here. I might even start me a little fire. It was Bigfoot. What's up, Hoosier? It's great to have all these new names. I would say faces, but I can't see your faces unless unless you have an avatar like Moist and Brian. Yeah, it's good to see all these new folks showing up. especially on a regular basis. I get to know folks by their comments, kinda as best you can know somebody anonymously. I told you that one of my viewers is out here coming in tonight. That's why I thought, okay, somebody came in. I didn't hear them. I thought maybe it could have been them, but no. I would have heard a motorcycle. I would have heard. I don't know if these leaves are not as crunchy as they sound. Um, anyway, one of my viewers lives in Kentucky, and he mentioned that he would be out in the woods with his buddy on motorcycles camping. So I was like, yeah, let's exchange pins. I got here first, sent him a pin. Hopefully those guys will show up. I mean, that could have been them. I just sure as shit didn't hear them. But not just that. He could have come up and go, hey, we're down the hill. We're not coming up here. It's not really, it's not a super wide road, and it's kind of overgrown, but there's not really any obstacles down there. So anyway, questions, comments, suggestions? Go eat a good meal, mate. Thank you for another good one. North Georgia Chris. Good to see you, Chris. Thanks for chiming in, man. That may have been his special friend that seems to not. He seems to not be surprised. I would be extremely surprised that somebody snuck in and snuck out without me seeing them or hearing them. I'd be extremely surprised. It could be somebody that just got lost in the woods. They were just coming out here to, I don't know. I'll tell you what, we could do this. We could walk that way and find out, because I know how to walk that way. Let's go. This will be fun. This will be fun, I think. I mean, there is kind of a rise over there. I mean, it's possible. I just don't think it's probable. So if they walked in behind me, pretty sure I would have heard leaves. And they could have walked up and said, oh, he's live streaming. I don't want to get in the middle of that. You know, I keep saying it's funny that the people that I hang out with, not all of them want to be on camera. And it's like, hey, but wait a minute, you know what I do, right? You know that I'm a video guy. You know I'm on YouTube, right? I always say that. And they're like, yeah, I know. I just don't want to be, I don't want to be, I don't want to be the guy that everybody's laughing at. I'm like, yeah, okay, I kind of get it. But it's also like, how do we know each other? How do you know me? You're a guy that watches YouTube and you don't like, well, I mean, there's a lot of private people. I've never understood private people. I don't understand them. I probably never will. I try to respect people's privacy. But when it comes to, I want to go hang out with the guy that's on YouTube, but I don't want him to turn a camera on. That's tough, man. That's a tough one. It's kind of like, you know, I kind of film my life. That's what I do, especially when it comes to motorcycles. Now, my other friends, my other family, you know, you don't see them on my channel much because it's not motorcycles. But if you're like, I'm going to come hang out at the camping club, but don't film me, my response is going to be like, go fuck yourself. Don't show up. Now, if you're saying, I want to come hang out with you at camp at something that I don't have to film, it's a bit of a struggle. It's like, I kind of know where you're coming from, but, you know, but it could be negotiated. So, my buddy Matt, he's another viewer. He showed up several times and camped, and he just requested, he had a bad experience on the internet.
think one of his sons, he told me, he didn't go into a whole lot of detail about what happened, but basically it ruined his family and made it was a very bad part of his life, and he didn't want anything to do with being exposed to the internet and web and all that. And I kind of got it. But, it was tough because I'm like, hey, man, come on. I won't share your name. I won't, no tags on your vehicles. He did show up in some parts, but, there's no interviews. There's no none of that. So hopefully, I don't see motorcycles. I don't see people. So somebody wandered up there, creeped up there on my camp, and you guys are the only ones that saw it. Makes me want to go back and look at the video now. Well, you can see I'm a good ways away, a good ways into the woods here. I'm going to break this thing off just in case these boys come up here. They were saying they were going to get in late. 6 and 7, like 6 or 7. Might not be an easy ride in the dark, but just in case they come this way, we'll take this off. I think we'll leave the rest. Yeah, so about 150 yards around that corner into the woods. You can see this is an old road. It's not maintained because there's trees growing up in it, But you come far enough up in these woods, you can escape anybody's attention, unless you're live streaming, apparently. All right, so did I miss any questions? Let me pull out my phone. Let's find out. Yeah, temperature dropping pretty quick. I don't think it's been 70 today at all. It's been pretty cold most of the day, but it's dropping even quicker tonight. This may not be his special friend. There's Richard. Be super careful. Are all the live broadcasts on Thursdays? No, I do most of my live streams on Sundays, oddly. Stay warm and dry. I'll be praying for no more wet weather. Thanks, Chase. Audio sounds better now while walking around. I unplugged that shitty microphone. Maybe that's why it sounds better. Yeah, it's like Blair Witch. Yeah, I mean, you can hear the leaves, right? If somebody walked up on my camp, I feel like I would have heard them. Yeah. Stay warm and dry. Audio. No, it's like, what camera? This is a cheap, I am filming with a cheap piece of shit Samsung. So you could tell it's probably not the best picture, but it's also the easiest streaming that I do. Pull out your phone and you're a broadcast truck. It's super easy, brain dead simple, and really hard to screw up, even for me. I still screw it up every once in a while because YouTube is painful. You can see I'm in here a good ways. And if we got nobody else, no other comments or questions before get to the top of the hill, we'll end it there. Interesting live stream. I would like to do more live streams out in the woods, but it's almost always dependent on good internet. And apparently we got good internet tonight. So, and somebody asked about live streams on Thursdays. No, it's just if I've got a good internet, number one, and I've got something I want to talk about, number two. I didn't say something interesting I want to talk about. I just said something I want to talk about. Good. I needed that short little hike. Get my heart rate up. Maybe lose some weight. Give you a quick tour around camp where I go. Pretty nice setup. If the boys show up, they can have anywhere back here to set up. They got trees. Not the best trees. I think I got the best trees, but they can also get around my hammock here. This is most of the stuff that's in the road here. I chopped down to get to my trees. I can move that out of the way, and they got all that flat up there if they want to. Big ass dude talking to himself in the woods. Yeah, totally. Totally, that's what happened. I mean, it could. I mean, this is the woods. I didn't put up a occupied sign. Totally. Yeah, got some exercise. All right. Well, this is my camp for tonight. I may make me a fire right over there by those dead wood. I may just stir everything up on a butane thing, so I don't have to worry about putting it out. But that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out, y'all. See you on the next one. Got a video coming out Saturday morning. Otherwise, I'm trying to do somewhat daily updates from the road. And I'll see y'all on the next one.